Today, we deep dive into the last week of popular culture and trends. This includes government, guys. Melania Trump has spoken about AI and education. Pete Hegseth has really come out and gone, do you know what? This is war. This is the Department of War. The White House had tech round. Cardi B is in the streets selling mixtapes. Yeah. A moment of silence for the Grammy award-winning artist. Now in the hood selling mixtapes. The economy is broken, people. We must do more. Not only that, Angela Rayner has resigned. David Lammy and Shabana Mahmood have taken on brand new positions. We're going to talk about Keir Starmer's stance on all of this. We're also going to dive into Elon Musk and Tesla because there's been a lot of peaks and troughs there. And while we're there, we are also going to dive into the Forbes Top 10 and what has occurred over the last 3 Qs, just so we're up to date as we come to Q4 and we close out the rest of the year. Not only that, is anyone else irritated by all of the viral ChatGPT clips? Rogue agent case studies of how annoying this tech really is. Tech follows its creator. That's what we will say, and we'll come back round to that as we also dive into Gavin Newsom's poll rankings and his current campaigning activities, along with Eric Adams and Mamandi. So let's deep dive into the conversations that really matter. Let's go. First and foremost, we have to address the fact that Melania has been out over the last week. It's been really, really nice to see her on the front line representing as the First Lady. First Lady duties are a thing. And that has to be done. What's interesting here as we dive in and discuss Melania, straight away I'm thinking about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, right? The Obamas, because it's really interesting that when they left office, and actually only this year they really started to speak out about financial struggles, and they've taken up a position on TikTok and became influencers of their own right on the platform. Very concerning. Very concerning that you can leave the house, and they spoke about, they didn't say they were broke, but they could have basically said they were broke because they said it's really expensive. They also identified that when they were actually in the house, if they did want to travel with the family on the aircraft and access a lot of the benefits that was tethered to Obama's role, it came at additional costs, right? And being the president is an expensive position, but that doesn't mean that your family and the rest of the life you have gets to immediately follow suit and eat off that bank account. And that's interesting. And I say that because I'm saying, has anyone looked at the latest meme coins? Because now we've got the Liberty coin, we've got Melania coin and Trump coin, and it's early days. We've never seen anything like this in the history of economics. This is a really pivotal time in life because what we really will begin to notice and only see really at the end of election is how well Trump has benefited from his position in office, because his money now is tethered to his public persona as the president. And if there are coins that are tethered to him, that is his nest egg, yeah? That is his whole life now, fed into these currencies, and they will really define his financial standing when he leaves. And we can all acknowledge when he went in, he was arse broke. He came back for more money. He's been arse broke. He's done amazing things while in the position in regards to the economy, in regards to BTC, in regards to initiating major economic shifts, because that's going to benefit him. We know that. That's why Gavin's screaming. On the flip side, change is indeed needed. But it is scary, right? So in regards to Melania, what's she doing? What's she saying? What's going on here? First and foremost, White House task force on AI education. You did hear that correctly. There is indeed a task force on AI education. came together and they spoke about technologies, self-driving cars, surgical robots becoming more mainstream. If you want to know more about any of this, head over to hermitology.me, dive into the sections over there, and you will indeed find some really current intelligence on what's going on in all of these areas, because it is an active field of evolution at this time, innovation, change, right? She launched the Presidential AI Challenge, a nationwide student competition to solve community problems with AI, aligning it with her Be Best initiative focused on youth online safety. She's doing a great job. I've got to say, this is all needed. This is really, really important. This is also aligned to the work that Joe Gebbia is doing as the head of design for the United States. So Milana urged leaders and parents to treat AI as we would our own children. That's a bit gravitas, but hey ho, it is there. We'll keep an eye on it. She says it's empowering, but keeping a watchful eye on it is the point. Stressing that there is a lot of responsibility on everyone engaging with AI, understanding it as the developer, but understanding it as the user as well. And it's important that we be aware of that. There is a lot of tension at this time in regards to innovation, the enthusiasm of all this tech, but the ethical principles of it and the risk that it brings, the exposure that it brings. So these are key conversations that the First Lady is working through at this time publicly and promoting those conversations to be had. So we're going to keep a watchful eye on that. Really exciting. The most breaking news of the week has to be Pete Hegseth and his strong stance with the Secretary of War. Now, he's put real emphasis on restoring a warrior ethos. Can we just process what the fuck is happening here? Restoring a warrior ethos. Laser focused on war fighting, lethality. Man said lethality. Meritocracy. Standards and readiness. Now, he praised Trump's moves to bolster allied defense contributions and recalibrate trade deals for national security. So he's like, yes, me and Trump are pushing forward with this. But from defense to war, it really simply states, we're at war, people. Wake the fuck up. Now, the tensions have been rife with Russia, India, China, Iran, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine. Yeah? These are the key areas of major concern. North Korea and China also in the arena. BRIC has been working on their financial infrastructure as a unit for many years now. This is scary because this is coming off the back of Trump meeting with Putin. This is coming off the back of Trump meeting with several nations. And they've still gone, we're going to war. The way I look at this is now a war dance. These are the first moves in war from the West, from the United States, and it's interesting because we've also seen Naradi come out today or come out this week on X and just support Trump. What is so interesting I see is Trump keeps accelerating the timeline and putting his foot on the gas, making it clear who he is and where he stands in this war. And when I saw him make the statements he did about India, I thought, wow, well, that's a lot of tension. That's very dangerous to say. That's a little bit inciting war, less of a defense stance, more of a war stance. But either way, Naradi, if I'm saying it right, said, "Oh, I don't want no smoke from you." And that is what we are seeing here. The most interesting thing I am seeing is everyone's going, "We do not want smoke with the United States. We do not want smoke with Trump." And that is exactly what is happening also with the White House and the tech dinner. Everyone pulled up and said, "You want billions? You've got it, because we don't want no smoke." Meta, 600B, I hope that's all not enough. I know we didn't confirm it. Zucker was like, "I'm so sorry if that's not enough money. Please don't shoot me." Do you get what I mean? Horrifying. Okay, this is going out. Please don't delete this, guys. Please. The government are on the other end of this content at this time, guys. It is difficult to evolve as you are in these grey areas of evolution. So I must be nice about Trump and not say anything that's just going to get my whole page hacked again. But we've got to be honest. The tech geniuses are going to be nervous and intimidated. I mean, Tim Cook prepared a speech. He's practically licking bum at the table. "We love you, Trump. We love you." He is shagging Apple. He has mugged Apple off repeatedly, and Tim is like, "It's absolutely fine. Whatever you want." So the intimidation coming from the president is unfathomable. I've never seen anything like it, because not only is this man racking up coin, TVL, for his own personal net worth on the side, didn't even get a sentence or charged with anything for the crimes that he commit, that he got done for during the campaign trail, walked away from that, best friends with Epstein as well, just chilling. The audacity of the Speaker of the House to come out with nothing but cap this week and actually make a claim that Trump was an inside man. Yeah, he was inside. But what inside we're referring to is the real question here. Is it or is it not? Let's be honest. Let us be honest. Someone speak the truth into existence, please. Because cap is rising. "Oh, he was really working for the FBI." It's taken you all this time in office to whip up that bullshit. How long did it take to write the fake papers for that and backdate all of your fake evidence to imply that he was really working and an inside man? Bollocks, we're not stupid. Come on, guys. Do better. Corruption is rife. Someone's got to speak the truth here. So, on September the 4th, President Trump and Melania hosted a star-studded dinner with big tech leaders like Gates, Nadella, Zuckerberg. Altman was indeed there, and so was Mr. Cook. Elon couldn't make it, but he sent a representative. Companies like Meta and Apple pledged massive US investments. 600B was thrown around from both Apple and Meta through 2028. Mark Zuckerberg was caught on a hot mic awkwardly apologising to Trump, sparking online mockery. Now, I just mocked it as well because I am nothing but a troll on the internet. But the truth of the matter is, it is quite concerning, and it is why Dev Protect is so important, and it is why ecosystem and community nourishment and unique development of our own systems is so important, because the intimidation that does exist here is real. I do advocate for human flourishing and positive psychology, although I just make jokes all the time, but jokes are the way through the terror of today, right? So if I'm being genuinely really serious for a moment, it is quite concerning that there is this pressure coming from gangster Trump and the rest of the world that have to bend and bow to his will. It's very intimidating. Apple has had to change its whole infrastructure because of the US demands and what Trump has said. And it isn't so much a legal regulatory issue, it's a sticking it to Apple saying, "I want this for my nation and you need to do this." Like, he's in charge and he's really forceful with it, and that's intimidating. And the truth of the matter is, the Zuckerberg clip that was leaked, it just shows intimidation on Zucker's side. It shows that Mark Zuckerberg is intimidated and is scared to even say the wrong thing, because you can't say the wrong number to the boss. And it's scary. It's a scary time. It's hard because I go back and forth with Trump, and I'm roasting him a little bit today, going hard, but you've got to understand it's a very unprecedented time in the field of politics and economics, because, wow, there's like the gangster realities of it all are up. And clearly that's why I'm here doing what I do, and why Hermitology has evolved in the way it is, and why I do actually do what I do in life. Was there a purpose for me to be here? I'm not sure. Clearly there is. Because look at the state of the economy. Look how we're all behaving now. Look at the future of technology. Look at the future of war and terrorism and tech, and how everyone's behaving. If I came up here and I behaved really posh and overly nice all the time, I would just fall into the rung with everybody else, right? And be a little bitch to whoever's in charge, which is so not the way to go, because the threats are up. Do you know what I mean? So it takes people that are actually mouthy yet integritous and free of criminality. No offence, all the criminals that are in top spots and made it number one in their career, sitting high on the TVL, my bad. No offence to you, kingpins. But the truth of the matter is, we have to be a little bit active and mouthy and different in our approaches moving forward, and it takes major risk. And most people, especially people that have made a name for themselves in their career and came all the way up here, they've done it by toeing the line, being well behaved, being well spoken, real PR training not to say or do the wrong thing. But today, in today's society, when gangsters run the house, you got to be a little bit more, I don't know, whatever the word is, but something, right? The optics of tech leaders publicly is very polarizing. And we're shifting from the tech wizards being nerds to being the richest, to now having to be fucking gravitas and a little bit gangster to actually sustain liberatory tech. So you don't hear a lot from up and coming tech. Like, if we talk about Pavel, is the founder of Telegram, CEO of Telegram. Like, he's kind of more that kind of character. Even the guy founder of Solana, CEO of Solana. Like, everyone has this little bit more grit to them coming up, because if you don't have it, you don't have it, unfortunately, which is quite scary. That's what I foresee anyway. That's my opinion. And that's my excuse for being a mouthy bitch here, because without it, my goodness, just going to be a puppet on the sidelines with another saturated piece of technology in the DC field. Spoke about streaming this week as well, and the struggles that music artists are actually having to get traction on their tracks. Lizzo's speaking about it. There's been back and forth talks about streaming, and everyone buying units, buying streams, stream manipulation, constant conversation. And on that note, we've got Cardi B out here in the NYC streets on the sidewalk selling physical CDs. It's a bit of banter and a laugh and a joke, but there's truth to the situation. Yeah? She's just gone through a divorce. Her money is not up like it used to be. She didn't come into the field with econo physics in the back of her mind, with monetary economics in the back of her mind. She's actually paying her husband, from the last thing I heard, potentially paying her husband spousal support. So imagine the stresses on this one. And she's literally like, I want my Rolls Royce to stay. I want my cars to stay. Gonna have to let go of my cars. You think it's a joke, and she's bantering it because she's very good at comedy and jokes and just being lighthearted about shit. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of people in these situations are struggling. I already said about a year and a half ago, anyone with a markup underneath 4.5B is going to feel the weight of the world over the next 2 decades, I want to say. But over the next 2 years specifically, we're cementing in the reality of what it really means to be rich. You see a lot of OnlyFans influencers flying out the gate, millions. More people are millionaires than ever before. That's not based on stats. You feel free to grok that and let me know what they say. But in my opinion, more people are millionaires than ever before. It is easier for people to attain millionaire status more than ever before through all of these new platforms, all of this new DC approaches, all of this new coding, all of this new AI. Millionaire status is easier to achieve, but as that increases and we've got more millionaires, guess what happens? That falls down the rung, that pyramid, doesn't it? The mass pop shifts. The middle class, the working class, the upper class, the elite, the 1%, it's all shifting. So everything's coming down. So everyone who's uppity up and everyone who's at a 4.5B on the net, they're actually at the fucking kilter, the left and right, the turning point for humanity. Yeah? Hard to say, because you could live pristine on 1B. When I speak from econophysics. My hands up. I'm taking an oath on my monetary economics at this time. All right, my manual of monetary economics is the leading drive of this conversation, not her, because I personally, removing my humble hood energy to the side, you can live on 30k and be humble. Let's be honest. If you come from the ghetto and you really struggle, you can live on practically nothing and get by. Who even needs money? Who even needs money? Live on air, live on oxygen, do breath work and eat leaves. Come on, come on, people. You'll make it, right? But the truth of the matter is, depending on where you're at in society today, and as we bounce from the left to the right on the spectrum, yeah? And what I have foreseen in relation to the evolving net, even Elon's broke at this time, may I add as well. Goodness me, Tesla is struggling. Tesla's at 10 on the top 10 Forbes. I want to cry for him. He's so struggling. It's unfathomable. The man has put in so much work. He is such an innovator. Yeah, he's still number 1 on Forbes, but his company's at 10. We're going to look at all of those as well today, okay? Goodness gracious me. The economy is shifting. The richest man in the world is broke. It's breaking my chakras, okay? The point being, before I started ranting on about all of that, was what? The threshold of tax, digital finance, financial stability, return on investment, exchange rates, markups, financial collapse, financial ruin, liquid assets. It's not easy. That is why Trump, once again, has got 3 different coins running consecutively. The conversation here isn't so much about being rich. It's about sustaining living. We also, we saw Kevin Spacey announce that he was broke, didn't we, earlier this year. Lost it all, went bankrupt. We're looking at a real significant bankrupt era. And, I don't think it's hit matter yet. I keep saying this because we do keep going through ripples. If you know about wave function, wave collapse, wave theory, we are going through ripples of this. Bankruptcy is hitting different sectors at different times, especially with the influx of all these tax changes and how it's impacting nations regionally, yeah? Everyone's experiencing that shift, and what you've invested in based on industry and sector, that causal loop of that new regime, that big beautiful bill, the change to all of these things, when it causal loops back round in completion, if you didn't invest wisely, if you didn't sell enough mixtapes on the block, you're fucked, yeah? And the Rolls Royce has got to go, and your Bentley's got to go, and that house you got with the 17 bedrooms that you bought because you thought you were super fucking rich, you can't even afford the maintenance on the property. Let alone the insurance. Let alone fucking the gardener to fucking trim the hedges. Do you get what I mean? Like, welcome to dystopia, kids. We're here now. Just in time. Because the United Kingdom only dropped their apocalypse readiness alert test today, where everybody's phone goes off and all the phones in your house are now screaming because there is a national emergency. Something is up. I did go to Keir Starmer and say the only problem here is our TV screens are not glitching with the error screen yet. Come on, you guys are behind. I've seen the apocalypse movies. You are wasting time. Come on, right? I'm still waiting for the full self-driving cars to spin out on themselves and start riding all over the pavements and driving up and down steps. It's time. We are in the middle. It's not funny. I shouldn't laugh, but you have to laugh through this shit because it is indeed crazy, because it is happening. And eventually, maybe by next year, the year after, everything in our house will be alerted in that way. Because there are threats. Once again, I always go back to the age-old Congress meeting with, I believe, Mike Lynch. Is that correct? The UFO, the extraterrestrial. It isn't a joke when Congress speak on it. There are things out there. And that's the extraterrestrial threats, not the extraterritorial threats, which is nation to nation, actual war on Earth. I wanted to say in-house. Now we refer to Earth as an in-house problem. My goodness. Where are we on the timeline? Someone get me my shuttle and let me leave. Okay, not only that, right? Angela Rayner resigned. On September the 5th, Angela Rayner resigned after an inquiry found she underpaid $40,000 in stamp duty on her $800,000 home, breaching the ministerial code. Now, the fallout includes a $67,000 salary cut, possible sale of her home, and scrutiny over a $16,000 severance payment. Now, when you are a deputy prime minister, you are under severe inspection. Obviously, she came from council housing. She has worked her way up with no qualifications. She's come from the hood pretty much. A girl done good, if you want to look at it like that. So it is kind of sad to see this, but she's held to the ministerial code, which is integrity to a whole new degree. The statement that was released said that she had integrity, but she lacked the standards needed to uphold the ministerial code. So as a result, she resigned. Her house has already been graffitied. She's not even going to have enough money coming in now she's left this role to really afford this big boy property. And not only that, she actually has a child with severe disability. Her child is blind and also autistic. This was very private and personal, something she didn't really want to share publicly. She had documents on her private life with her husband, ex-husband, for she is a lesbian out and proud, sealed. She had to unseal all of this to share this with the public. It's been a very awful, dreadful week for her. So, love and light and healing sent to Angela Rayner, because more importantly, she's a human and the public eye is horrendous. And she has been at the centre of all of it, and as a result, she has now walked. So, that has led to David Lammy stepping up. He is now the Deputy Prime Minister and he's retained the Justice Secretary role. He didn't have the Justice Secretary role, from my understanding. Now he does. Yvette has moved over to Foreign Secretary and Shabana Mahmood has moved over to Home Secretary. This is fascinating news. Firstly, David Lammy is now the first black Deputy Prime Minister in history. Beautiful. He comes from Tottenham, Haringey. This is amazing for us in the culture. What a lot of people don't understand when we talk about race relations and the age-old question in the United Kingdom at this time of black and white, far left, far right, racism, war, all of this. What people don't really seem to understand is role models are incredibly important. You have to see it to believe it. And when you don't have anyone that looks like you, we say it all the time as black people in the black community, no one's ever looked like me who's done that. No one's ever been here, there, or looks like us or represents us in this community. And a lot of the white people, mainly on the far right, will always go, oh, whatever, you're not oppressed, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. But you, who am I talking to? Let me know in the comments. Whoever has that rhetoric and belief system, you've never lived in a reality where you're underrepresented. And the fact that there's a chance that you may be underrepresented now is why we have far right, why we have so much pandemonium and war increasing, civil war in the UK. Because now more and more white people are feeling underrepresented and they're feeling threatened by the ideologies of not being the dominant race in the environment, which has been the reality of the black man and woman since the start of time in high-flying rooms and in specific areas in society, you know? So this is an incredibly important move for black people, and a lot of the time, black people don't want to even acknowledge these, black people in positions of power don't want to acknowledge these advancements, because we don't want it to be the talking point here. We don't want this to be about race, yeah? We would often, if you are a successful black person in a white-dominated field, more than likely you are denouncing your black liberation in that arena, because you don't want that to be your label. You don't want to be the first black. You don't want your role to be seen as you only got it because you're black. You don't want the label. You don't want the connotation. You just want to be you, right? So it's a tale of two halves, and it's quite burdensome sometimes. You see on the right, if we look at Conservatives, Rishi Sunak getting abused repeatedly in the press, wasn't given that position outrightly to be Prime Minister. He took that on after Liz Truss screwed up. Kemi Badenoch made references to being not really claiming her African heritage, claiming she's British, because in today's economy, her standing as someone who was raised in Africa for a period of time isn't a good look for the party to conserve the nation, right? Whereas Keir Starmer's taken a very different stance, and he's coming in as a white man and he's going, I don't care. We're blacking up the place. We're Asianing up the place. We're bringing in some culture up in here. And that's what I will say about Keir Starmer. And I didn't know we were going to go here so frankly and honestly in the conversation, guys. But the truth of the matter is, so much respect for Keir Starmer. Because he's playing in a very, very politically, culturally, racially sensitive arena. And Conservatives, we come with the ideology to conserve. We want to conserve everything that's going on here. We want to reduce that civil unrest. We want to make sure that we are absolutely safe and stable and okay. Because the truth of the matter is, after all the bullshit Rishi Sunak went through, after every fucking thing Kemi Badenoch has to do every single day to stabilise her position as a black woman in that role, along with James Cleverly, who's also been in a leading representative for Conservatives, we're going, okay, how can we conserve this? How can we conserve this? We're not going to make this about race, because we know that race is a trigger. We're going to bring that narrative down, and we're just going to hone in on the facts, on the stats, on what we know, right? Because this is the embodiment of what it means to be conservative. Labour's coming in with the sentiment, and actually, up until now, but let me flip-flop with you, up until now, the sentiment has just been really weak and really dystopian for everything that's going on here. But Keir Starmer, in his position, has gone, no, we understand that race is a massive issue here. We understand that actually these cultures are rising and they are unrepresented. So we're not saying that Shabana Mahmood and David Lammy didn't get their positions off their own back, because they've done incredible work, especially Shabana Mahmood has been putting in the work. I've watched her myself. David Lammy, here or there, I mean, a fishing trip with J.D. Vance. I mean, he's the... hey-ho. Everyone's made it to their positions now. But Keir Starmer and the Labour regime have gone, no, we are going to stand for culture. We are going to stand for black people. We are going to stand for Muslims. We are going to stand for Asians. That's a very scary thing to do for a prime minister, to take that oath and take that stance. And I have to take my hat off to him. I have to take my head off to him. I have to take my hair off to him. I have to take my skin off to him. I don't know. Because that is a ballsy, bold move. And sometimes those bold, ballsy moves can only come from someone who is in one of those kind of positions and actually is a white man, let's be honest. Because, how do we say this after we've posted so much different movies this week, like Mandingo and Slaves and Roots? Go and check out the timeline and see what's going on, and the race relations of the week that have come up over here. Because I want to say this, but I'm finding the words for it. What I have noticed growing up with white and black family being mixed, right? But my personal experiences, when in a white dominated field, many times as a black person, you feel forbidden, downcast, tapered at the mouth, withdrawn, isolated, unable to speak on key issues relating to you and your race or your heritage. Sometimes it takes the white man to tell you that it is okay, or that I see you, I support you, or the white man to carry that rhetoric himself for there to be change. Because the truth of the matter is, in certain instances, and the way that the world is today, still in 2025, the white man has more leverage. Yeah? We can be honest about that. Rishi Sunak didn't get the seat on his own. He got put in after the fact. And Liz Truss just wasn't the way in the beginning anyway. So imagine that. The way I look at that is no one voted for that. But tell me I'm wrong. And then on the other hand, because there is a high racial issue around Asians in the United Kingdom, let's put that on the line. And then, separate to that, would David Lammy have ever made it to the position he's in and been voted in by the rest of the House if Keir Starmer didn't make this massive move? I'll leave that with you. And David Lammy, as a black man, dark skin as well, how many more of those have we got in the House? When you take a snapshot look around the House, how many of those do you see standing out? That dark ebony complexion. You don't. Okay? So it's a harsh conversation, and it's me being really, really blunt about it. I could have been posh and nice and buttered this up and made this a real nice piece. But let's be honest. It matters. And Keir Starmer, hats off to you for making a decision that will really enforce change in the community, because now there are clear representatives in the right place representing those that need it most. And this is difficult, and this is upsetting as well, because you've taken a really difficult stance, because this also does bring that civil unrest up, that civil war up. Because although the far right can scream whatever they want to scream and make implications that this isn't a racist rhetoric that they spew out every time they protest, it is. And the Asian hate in the United Kingdom is unfathomable. Absolutely unfathomable. So the fact that Shabana Mahmood is in her... Instead of someone being called Louise Allen, we have someone being called Shabana Mahmood. Do you get it? And these are really important conversations in sociology, in psychology. Yeah? The way that society is flourishing. Yeah, humanity overall. I know we don't like to talk about race and culture, and I know that things can come across really insensitive at times, and no one in a position of power I know talks about this stuff. It's only us, like philosophers and professors in the lecture room studying all of these things, having these kind of lower level debates. But we need to be able to have these conversations and make stronger statements on the front line. Because how on earth are we going to eradicate all of these problems that are sitting in little pockets over here? Because guess what's happening right now as all of this is going on? Sleeper cells. And I do worry, and I do have a lot of fear about the change in terrorism. Because right now, the terrorism that we've been seeing is specific culture and background. But the tides are going to change as the economy changes. And the culture changes. And more people feel they're unrepresented. And maybe about 2 years ago, when I first started doing all this stuff more publicly and grounding hermitology through research, I started going, okay, we're going to see a flip in racism potentially. Like if we go too far in the wrong direction, we're just going to turn racism upside down. So we're going to go from the black people screaming up, we've been slaves all this time and we're oppressed. We're going to go to the white people now becoming that narrative, because sometimes people really think it's an on and off binary system that we're operating on, strictly O1, no additional qubit or qdit in the conversation, and you're going, oh what, there's not enough black people here, bring in the blacks then. Oh, there's not enough whites doing this, bring in the whites then. And that's not how it works. We're on a spectrum, yeah? We're all different. And that's why in the United States as well, they threw out the Biden and the Obama dramas when they threw out employment that wasn't based on merit, but that's based on race. Can't remember what it's called now. But a lot of people, and a lot of people on the left, still believe that you should just employ someone based on race. You've got no black people in here? Employ someone black. Now, the black person will get the job immediately. The Asian person will get the job immediately. Whatever we're missing in the team, whoever comes in through the door, doesn't matter if there's more people qualified this way or that way, just employ the one we need based off race. That's not the answer, unfortunately, because race is one variable, yeah? That's a demographic. That's a signifier. That's an element of a much bigger piece of the pie. Sorry, here we go, physics again, nerd brain again, yeah? Heart chakra removed for this. Empathy removed for this. Because let's just keep it real. What happens if we keep creating that rhetoric is we flip the script, and a lot of people will go, hooray, make the white people slaves, we're saved. No. Because once again, the age-old thing that I also say as well is, if you have really suffered abuse, if you have really suffered anything awful in your life, you would never wish that on anyone else. If you have experienced racism, if you have any good person on this planet, if you have been through something bad, you wouldn't wish that on another person. And that's how me and God work, and me and Jesus, and my faith, and my alignment with Ra, Allah, God, the universe, the divine, Brahman works simply on that basis. If you are prepared for another person to suffer like you suffered, your relationship with God can't be right. I'm sorry, but that's my belief system. Because, and I have noticed as well, in other people's realities and mine too, when you have that mentality, you'll go back through that bullshit again. God will make you run through that traumatic cycle again and again. Your life will be shit again and again. You will not evolve karmically again and again. Dharma on your neck again and again, because you aren't learning. So God said, oh, you want to see someone suffer like you did? You could have never suffered enough. You could have never suffered enough if you're willing to put that on another person. So if you want to see white people become slaves, the slave story in your reality clearly couldn't have been enough then. Possibly. No way. How? You're racist towards others because of your racism. Shh. God's going to send you more racism, because clearly you haven't learned. Because if you really, really, really went through it and you felt that in your fucking chakras, no way on God's green earth, if you was right in the mind, would you want that for another person. And that is the difference between the light and the dark. And that is the difference between healing. That is the difference between evolution. And you can be jealous, you can be bitter, you can be resentful, you can be annoyed, you can be hateful, you can be venomous, you can be pissed off at other people being in other positions and the way of the world being the way in which it is. But you've got to learn from your own struggle, and you've got to never want to wish that on anybody else. That is the true fucking life hack. So let's keep going, because that was a bit intense. Who knew we were going there? You know, we never know where we're going. We never know. But we are not fearful to dive into some very intense discussions over here. We saw, my goodness. Okay, Elon Musk's here because Tesla's recent move to grant Elon Musk 96 million restricted shares valued at around 29 billion, along with the context and implications, are a talking point right now, because Tesla's board approved an interim grant of 96 million, right? That was that 29 billion US dollars. This was back in August. But now we're looking at a good faith gesture and an honour as part of the 2018 compensation package that was related to the Delaware court governance flaws, right? So that's about 50 billion that was up for negotiation about whether or not he should be paid properly or not. And this is a little bit dated, so we're going to fly through it, but it was just worth noting that being in a high position at the top of the chain and being the richest man in the world isn't the sweetest chestnut of all, can we say it like that? Because, dearie me, he's fighting for a lot of rights, for a lot of independence, for a lot of things. I mean, the man makes recyclable space rockets. Are we joking? This is innovative as fuck. The man puts chips in brains. The man prevents blindness, cures blindness. The man created the multiplanetary movement, made us go to Mars. What else has this man done? Self-driving vehicles. Dearie me. It's hard to be innovative and unique and go out and do all of this crazy outlandish stuff that the world has never seen before. So it's amazing that he's got so far in his career, but then to see that the net worth of Tesla has plummeted over this year and last year as well is crazy, because he aligned so deeply to Trump, invested quite a chunk of money in the campaign trail, pissed off a lot of people. A lot of his stuff got burnt down. A lot of vigilante riots and stuff. That's when we really saw Gotham City Live come alive. He was up Trump's arse for a good window of time. Or Trump was up his arse. I mean, I think they were both sharing anal cavities back and forth for a while. But then they fell out, broke up, and now we're here. You know, it's hard. It's hard to see, guys. Money is not all it's cracked up to be, guys. But as we say that, let's fucking dive, shall we? Top 10 companies by market cap. Nvidia. Oh. Nvidia shares on a first date is one of my phrases or lyrics in something that I have. Don't ask me why. I'm a clown, right? But every now and then I just, Nvidia shares on a first date. That actually comes from Towie, only way is Essex. Because it used to be planes on a first date or something. It's really old. I'm getting sidetracked. But Nvidia shares on a first date is me taking the piss. Nvidia has done incredibly well. They've got brand new bots coming out. The thing is, the chips are the way, right? It is about the chip game. It really, really is. And it is amazing to see how significant they are. And, you know, I love the fact that Jensen has just been in the background for the length of time he has, building his corporation. And he knew, this is the way. They're going to need me. I'm just going to keep building. And he's done that, and it's paying off, and he's at number one, and he's only gonna go up and up and up and up and up. If you saw the his last presentation, which was actually one of my favourite presentations I've ever seen from anyone ever. Do you know what? Yeah, let's say it. He's second from Steve Jobs. I haven't seen anyone on this planet yet do a presentation as good as Steve Jobs. Second, Jensen. Everyone else's presentations, I wouldn't even put in that league or category. Jensen nailed it. Epic. And every single thing he delivered was so pristine, and there was so much beautiful mechanics. I like the way that he displayed his mechanics, and I like the way he took us on a journey with his presentation. Beautiful. Big fan. Humongous fan of that. So go and check that out if you haven't seen that, guys. Really amazing. And it dives into the future of technology and what's going on and what he's doing across industries and how his chips work, from gaming to industrial robotics. I mean, and everyone is using a chip. Everyone needs a chip, you know? Amazing. Microsoft's second at this time as well, which is amazing because Microsoft has been around for donkeys, and they don't really seem to fight for on this leaderboard. Do you know what I mean? Like, Tesla's not even in the top 10 at this time as well. Tesla's bounced out within the window of time I've produced this document as well. So interesting, because obviously you think Elon's the richest man in the world, right? Losing my voice, but he's not even in the top 10. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting at top 10 with that 1.8 trillion. We've got Nvidia at 4.16T. Microsoft at 3.75T. Apple with 3.41T. What I'm most interested to watch, guys, and I think we should all be watching it, I think it's really important for our econophysics studies, is to see how Apple really fares over the next decade. I'm most intrigued because what I do believe, in line with that lovely statement from Jack Dorsey as well on one of his podcasts, where he speaks about changing strategy and how that hits you for about 3 to 4 years. I want to see how that change in strategy is going to hit Apple. And I think Apple's going to fall. If I'm honest, right, I always watch Trump, and I always see his what I would call a double bluff, or his secondary agenda. Trump's a genius in negotiation, in sales, in marketing, right? So he's always got an ulterior motive, and the motive that is most dominant to him is him, yeah? So it starts with Trump, the Trump family, the Trump enterprises, the rest of the world. I mean, or the United States. And then the rest of the world's quite far down. It is the United States, sorry. So, and then from the United States, whatever trickles down from that and that and that and that and that. So, the Apple's only a piece of that in his existence, right? So, although he's making these deals, and he's making these offerings, and he's providing these dinners, he has his own agenda. The main way we can see who Trump is, right, period, is the way in which he stuck it to Jeff Bezos over the tariffs going public on Amazon. And the way in which Caroline Leavitt, is her name? Caroline Leavitt. The way that in which Caroline Leavitt came out, giving it the hard and the big un, as speaker, the way that she was, it was just unfathomable. She was absolutely rude. She was hostile as fuck. You could tell she had been given orders. This is the power of being empathic, may I add, as well. So read it in your own ways, people. But she really stuck it to Amazon. And she could tell that the boss, Trump, said, let them fucking know that if they fucking go forward with that, they are going to fucking suffer. Who do they think they are? I am the president here. You know, Trump is kingpin of this game. So with that in mind, we saw what it meant to step incorrect around Trump. That's why everyone is under the thumb when it comes to Trump. And there's positive and negatives to this. I say all the time, it is business here at the White House. So that is the narrative. But I do worry about Tim Cook's naivety, and I do worry about the net of Apple and how that is going to fare over the next 3 to 4 years because of this activity specifically. It's quite dangerous. It's quite dangerous. And when it comes to Trump, I think you've got to be brave, and I think you've got to stand up to him, and I think you've got to let him know that you're a strong contender and you have your own independence. I think he'll respect you a lot more. I think if Trump finds out that you're a weak sauce and that he can take every dime you've got, then he's going to take every dime you've got, and you'll be a punk bitch in his reality, and he'll punk you out for life. Yeah? That's what happens when you fuck with gangsters, you know? And Trump is a gangster, period. So, Alphabet, Google, 2.56T. They have just managed to come out the hot water that they were in with their browser. They don't have to give their browser to Sam Altman. Fantastic, because that's the last thing we wanted. So they're absolutely fine. Amazon sitting nice at 2.40. Meta at a 1.8T. Saudi at a 1.5. Broadcom at a 1.4. TSMC at a 1.1. And Berkshire Hathaway at a 1T as well. This is obviously fluctuating all the time. This is not locked in. I did not do any further background on this than just pull it. But I thought it was worth noting. And not only that, let's dive into what it says here. Apple overtook Microsoft to regain the number one spot in the market cap thanks to a 26% year-on-year increase, reaching 3.3 trillion as of March 2025. But obviously that's changed again. Everyone's always bouncing up and down with the releases, the promotions, things that is going on. Because then after that, Microsoft's market cap fell by 11%, dropping to 2.7T, allowing Apple to surge ahead again, all right? So there's all this up and down bouncing. Then Nvidia maintained a strong upward trajectory as well, with 19% year-on-year growth, sustaining its rank near the top, though its previous meteoric gains had decelerated. I've never even heard of that word before. Meteor, I can't even say it now. Meteoric. We'll look into that. Amazon climbed 2 positions to re-enter the top 5, powered by an 8% year-on-year to a 2 trillion. That was of March. So this was the overall of the year, realistically. I was just trying to dive in and see if there was anything specific that my eye needed to catch as we kind of head in towards Q4 and start to close out this year specifically, and sum up exactly what has gone on, you know. But there isn't anything here that I feel like we need to really dive into, apart from the beauty of Nvidia. Nvidia is a really, really, really nice way to go in life. I mean, my goodness, the sustainability of it is amazing as well. What's interesting though, because Elon's super busy, he's in hermit mode, he's cracking on with the builds and the mechanics and the construction of stuff, but we do see stuff coming out from Neuralink, so there's more things going on. We did get a woof of Neuralink UK, and we are hearing talks of advancements in Neuralink Canada. So we know that the boss of the game is working incredibly hard over there to kind of keep delivering. And he's spoken quite publicly in his tweets this week about his chips. So he's got some more chips coming, and they're going to be the greatest chips. And it's interesting because Elon makes great technology. So if he is coming with some chips, and it's going to be a while, there's going to be an evolution of chips kind of coming from him, then I'm really, really intrigued to see how that's going to develop over time, because that's really, 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 really exciting. And that's a massive game changer as well. So yeah, watch this space with that. When it comes to the top 10 richest people, just because if you're nosy like me, you like to know what's going on, right? Elon's at the top still. He's got 415B. Larry Ellison's at 270B. 207. Does that make sense? Yeah. 270B, that's how I'm saying it. If you can't receive, then I'm so sorry. Zucker's at 253. Jeff's at 240. Elon has added 14.4B to his net. Larry Ellison lost 29B. Biggest monthly loss. I'm not sure why he lost 29B, but he did. We'll dive into that at some point and check in on Oracle. Zucker fell 13B. Jeff dropped 5. Larry Page is up 20B. And then that's the top 5. And I think that's all we need to know about. Jensen's also in the top 10 as well, which is nice though. But he did lose 3.5B, which made him drop to 9. And Warren Buffett is just holding on nicely. Oh, Warren Buffett, I mean, the king of it all, I tell you now. The man is old as time nowadays, and he's just still chilling in top 10. Even with Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, the man is a legend. Like, come on, guys. Just look at the mechanics of Berkshire Hathaway. So beautiful. So inspirational. I always go on and on about Berkshire Hathaway's accounting and company reports. And the way that Warren Buffett writes. He's, what do you call it? When he writes his accounting, when he writes up his annual reports, when he does his quarterlies and he writes them up and he writes the different departments around Berkshire Hathaway, I love it. I love it. I'm so old, I think. I'm so ancient. I'm so white paper focused. I mean, I just love how something so classical and so, to me, it's an art form. It's an art form. It's a gift for him to be able to do what he does and to have such an old school style business as well. You know, and it's interesting because I have no idea what Berkshire Hathaway will look like in the future with all these tech savvy companies taking the lead. I really do feel like luxury brands will probably fall off to a certain degree as well, to be honest with you, because I feel like the dominance is going to be tech. I would like to say there would be other things coming up here as well, because there are so many industries doing beautiful things, but I've got to say I think it is technology and dominant industry mechanics that is going to lead the top of the chain for the foreseeable as well. And that's why there's so much waves right now in the ocean, right? Because of all of these shifts. Like I spoke about that 4.5B cutoff point. So for me, what I first started realizing, yeah, and this applies to social media. I've been applying these same econophysics models across dimensions. So what I realized on social media, right, was that if you have 10K or you have 500K, unfortunately, you're in the same bracket. You're in the same Hermatian. You're in the same vector. Mean, horrible. Broke my heart to discover it. I didn't want to know that. When I was first building when I was first doing the social media versus reality, right? And that was me, micro-influencer, trying to understand virality, connecting with the influencers of today, ranging from 1K, 100 subs, to 500 subs or more, right? The 1Mers. But I realised 1,000 and below category, and then there's that 1,000 to that 10,000 category. All these people are not making no money on the platform as well, but they're churning out shit on a frequent basis. Below 10K, likelihood you're not making a dime off of this as well, unless you have offline mechanics and you've actually just using the platform. You built a business first and then went on the platform instead of tried to build a business off your following based off your platform presence. Different, yeah? So from 10K, like I said, all the way up to 500K, the socialization's the same, the dynamics the same, the sense of self's the same, the struggle's the same. Because even if you do have a little bit more money and you're spending a little bit more, your outgoings a little bit more because you've got a 500k and you've got a couple more sponsors and a couple more brand deals, it's not equating to nowhere near enough return on investment for the output that you're putting on that platform, and you're giving your life to it every single day, buying clothes and garms and dressing up in your finest pieces. Yeah? Everyone's fake flexing on the gram. Everyone's fake flexing online. Ain't no one really got money like that. But everyone's chasing that via reality. I got 10k, all I got to go do is get to 100k and I'll be up, I'll be winning. And you get to 100k and shit ain't really progressed. That's harsh to say because there is progression. But the rate of exchange, the rate of return, the whole shebang, inflation as it stands, and inflation as it's coming, cost of living, and your output as a human, whether or not you want to be a puppet to the system or not. Slaves Are a Master series is out at hermitology.me/press. Go and read The Algorithm Slave. You get what I mean? It's how much of your life you want to give to the system. And obviously it's different across the board depending on if you're streaming, or if you're a YouTuber or an Instagram or a TikToker. Ratios are different. Liberatory ways of content creation exist across all of these different paradigms. But still not a nice place to be in. So that's why we talk semiconductors, guys. That's why we talk tech. That's why we talk AI. That's why we keep our consciousness alive and well, and really understand what is leading the way in today's economy, because it makes a difference, you know? And once again, it's not about money, because we can sit over here in a bush and be broke. But it is about quality of life, and it is about understanding liberation, and it is about understanding how much time you've still got left on this planet, or what you believe you're meant to be doing here. Because it's a situation of, it's going to get harder year on year and year on year on year on year. More and more difficult. More and more, less and less access. More and more saturation. More and more decentralization. Yeah? So if you are going to be solely governed by a central executive that you have no control over, if that comes in the form of an application or a job or a life path or a role that is still centralized, and you are just a cog in the wheel, then you're going to find it really, really hard in life. It's way harder than others. And if you've still got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years on this planet, then it's going to be devastating. Think about all the awful war photos you see now, and all the people are high off trank, bent over now. All the people sleeping on the stars now. Yeah, Hollywood stars. Think about all of them now, and think about them in 20 years. Think about that in 20 years. Think about all the homelessness now in the UK and everyone in the tents on the back streets. Think about that 20 years from now. We're only accelerating. This is only increasing. Think about migration now. War now. Civil unrest now. Sex trafficking now. Child exploitation material online now. Paedophiles now. Paedophile communities online now. Dark web. Dirty sickos now. Where's that going? Because that's what motivates me to keep moving in this direction. It's, well, actually, this is only going to get worse. So I can sit here and I can be humble in the position that I'm in now and be okay with the life that I have, and nestle out this little place for me and let the world go by. The world could easily swerve around our vector, our circle, our circumference, and we can stay safe here. And that's a hermetic discipline within itself. But then it takes even more fucking courage to pick up that ecosystem that you have, that community that you have, that vector that you have, and actually start fucking Dragon Ball Z-ing the fuck out of that shit. Pokemon the fuck out of yourself, right? Change form, evolve. Become more than the solidified construct that you've already created for yourself. Because you're going to want to, like, this sounds harsh, but this is my mindset, and this is the greatest mindset I've ever had. Fucking climb. Keep climbing. Do not stop climbing. This isn't about the money, but climb. And everything's a variable now. Let's be honest. We're in the matrix. So money isn't even the conversation, but the O's and the ones are. The qubit and the qdit are. The agent-based models are. Formula is, equation is, econophysics is. Climb, motherfuckers. Climb. And do not stop climbing. Take a break. Drink some water. Dust yourself off. Fall down the rung. Get the fuck back up. This is now a game of snakes and ladders. Climb. And climb for the rest of your lives. And there will be windows of time where you can chill out. And namaste. If you climb well enough, you can climb whilst sunbathing. In the future, it's going to be even easier because AI exists. So opportunities are there. But the climb matters. Because it's the mindset to keep going. To keep going against resistance in these new ways. In this industry. That is the fourth and the fifth rising. Really important. So, with that is why Gavin Newsom is kicking Batty. He's kicking ass. He is out here in these streets. He is making it known. He is not happy with the regime. He wants to see change. Not only that, we've had Eric Adams just come out this week and said, fuck my Mandy. He is not getting this seat. I am still fighting. So this is interesting as well. We've got politicians coming up, or mayors, governors, everyone, just really, and they're all Democrat from what I understand as well. They've been in the press. I am UK, but they keep cropping up on my timeline, so I will cover it. But they're really just standing on this. There's a whole chunky piece here about Gavin, but it's too much for me to go through. He's doing his damn thing. That's what we will say. And he is trolling the fuck out of Trump. But do you know what? I think, like I said, I think it's nice and I think it's empowering and I think it's important because, firstly, politics is politics. It's all politics, isn't it? And once again, we've seen the Trump agenda, how Trump is, and I think Gavin is meeting Trump where he stands, and he's giving the other side. We need a yin and a yang. So right now, Gavin is the much needed yin to the yang, if we want to put it like that. So we just have to benefit or see the benefits in opposition and continue to watch the economy and the world overall, and hopefully we can find a nice healthy equilibrium by the time we get to the elections, which we've got a long way to go, right? And not only that, well, there's loads of different elections going on across the United States and around the world, but the main elections are very interesting because, oh, goodness me, I can't wait for this era to be over, let's be honest. But JD Vance is already being asked questions about whether or not he's going to run. And he's like, can we get through 2026 first? Let's get to 2027 before we start having these kind of conversations. But everyone wants to know what's going on because you can see the fighting spirit in everyone is up way more than it normally is. And that's the same with the United Kingdom, with Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage has come out this week and he has said that he is prepared to send women back to Afghanistan, to the Taliban. And he said that he will also stop the boats in 2 weeks. This dumbass doesn't know shit about what it means to run a nation. He genuinely thinks that the Conservatives are stupid and that Labour are stupid and all these people in power are stupid, because how on earth he thinks he can pull up from his backbench position, take a seat and stop the boats in 2 weeks? Does he think he's Moses? He thinks he's going to part the seas. He can't do that. He can't do that. And he's also going, yeah, all these women that come over, I'm going to send them straight back to Afghanistan. He's lost his mind. He doesn't understand what it takes politically. He doesn't understand the treaties, the deals, the trade, the negotiations that are needed to make all of this happen. He hasn't got a team that's right for this. keeps screaming he's not racist, but every opportunity he has to amp up the racist agenda by suggesting that he's going to do this to Afghan women, disgraceful. Stopping the boats within 2 weeks, disgraceful as well. He's making these outlandish claims that's going to gas up the uneducated individuals who just want to see less coloured people on the streets of the United Kingdom. And that is potentially what will lead to his victory as well, which is scary. And that was my concern with the Labour approach and Keir Starmer's approach, and my awareness that Conservatives will never take that route, because Conservatives are aware that if they were to push an agenda like that, they never would. That's not how we do things as the Conservatives, because we focus on numbers and Conservatives is economy, econophysics, monetary economics, engineering. Labour is demographics, equality, period. It's an equal opportunity form that you have to tick. That's what Labour is. So the difference with that is, whilst Conservatives focus heavily on the statistical significance and the factor variance. What am I trying to say, guys? Statistical analysis. Let's just pause it there. Everyone else at Labour is just ticking boxes. And the boxes that they're ticking, which are incredibly liberatory for the rights of coloured people, are the same boxes that are now going to make more people tick reform. Scary. Reform is lapping this up. This is a massive win for Reform. They've been climbing heavily. And now, this move is going to make them climb even more. While Kemi is over there trying to do the opposite and reduce that climb. Crazy. So what really should be happening is now Labour and Conservative need to get together, work together a lot more, and put their heads together to really bounce Reform out of the way, because they are a hazard. And they are climbing. God forbid Reform take over in my lifetime. That's what I do whilst I still live in the United Kingdom, because my goodness, it's not going to be a good look. Not going to be a good look at all. Nigel Farage, seriously. Okay, anywho. Eric and Mandy, spoken about it. I'm not going to go into any more detail, but they are going to be fighting politically, so we're going to keep our eyes on that. I think the next week we'll see more, because Eric hasn't really said too much lately from what I've known, but now he's coming forward and he's quite feisty. I like when he speaks. I love a New Yorker vibration, and he's like, yeah, I'm coming, my Mandy can shut up. So we're going to watch that. It's going to be interesting, guys. That is it for the week ahead, or for the week that has gone. Now we're just waiting for the week ahead. Love and light. Have a good week. Adios, amigos.